In today's videos, we will be doing tangles. There are different types of tangles, Zen tangles or Zen doodles, freeform or Zentangle inspired. They're all the same idea. What they try to do is they all use a repetitive pattern, and then there's some differences with each one. The patterns are typically black and white, and they often involve curved or organic shapes. The process of creating a Zentangle or a tangle is meant to be relaxing and meditative, with the focus on the repetitive motion of drawing a pattern. So the nice thing about a Zentangle is there is no right or wrong, so you cannot make a mistake. And for that reason, I'm going to be doing them in pen and in ink so that you can see it's not about the final product, it's more about the process of getting there. It's very meditative, and you just try to focus on what you are doing. So you want to keep in mind the following things: that tangles, they're usually just composed of very simple shapes. So a line, a dot, a circle, a squiggle, an oval, that's all acceptable. And you will find, I'm going to show you some patterns that are created using the exact same lines, but in a different way. So to get started, I'm going to start with creating a basic tangle. So normally when Zen tangles were first brought to our attention, what they would do is they would have a small sheet of paper, and they'd just put 4 dots in the corners. There's your first step. Then I would connect my dots, and this would create a nice little border. I like to turn my page. I find it easier to do the lines that way. And I'm just going to pull this down. Now I'm just using some watercolor paper that I have because it's a nice consistency. It's 140 pound, and it will allow me, something fairly stiff. And the pen I'm using is, right now I'm using a micron. I'm starting with the size 05, but I will continue. So this is the first step and the second step. So putting my 4 dots and then connecting and giving myself a border. Now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a string. And a string is just imagine if I actually had a physical string and I dropped it on the page, how it would land. So you don't really have to think about this. I am just going to go and I will just move it different ways, and it just creates different spaces and shapes. And in each one of these spaces or shapes, I will start to create some patterns. So it can be as simple as, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some lines. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to draw them nice, and I'm going to try and space them evenly. The whole idea is, as I am doing these lines, I am thinking about my breathing, relaxing, making sure my shoulders are relaxed and that I'm sitting comfortably, and I'm not holding my pen too tight. If you are, just relax it. And when you first start with tangles, you will find you're concentrating too much on, is this going to be good? Is it not going to be good? Don't worry about that. What you want to do is just focus on your actual lines, your tangles. Okay, so there's my repetitive form for the first section. Now I'm doing this very simplified. I'm going to show you some other patterns in a few minutes, but I just want to show you how you can go ahead and do things and make it very simple to start with. So I'm now going to just do a swirl, and then I'm going to do it a different direction, but I'm just going to fill up my area with swirls. And as I say, these are very simple tangles. Now, as if this was going to go outside, I would come back and bring it back in. And then just gonna do another one. So you just focus on what you are actually doing. Try to relax. Focus on your breathing. Don't worry about the outcome. And you're going to find with everything we do tonight, don't worry about what the outcome is. Just relax. Take your time and focus on what you're doing. And you'll notice as I do them, when I go out, I follow, and then where would I be going in again? And that can fill it up. And I'm just starting off with something very simple. And if I don't, because I didn't finish here, I can just go and draw a little line there to finish that area off. The whole idea is just for you to relax, enjoy the process. Don't worry about what's going to happen or if you didn't get something quite right or a line's too close. The more you do these, you will find the better you get because you'll be more relaxed. And then maybe I'll put one more right here going the other way. Okay, and then I'm going to go and try something over here. And the whole idea is just to repeat whatever pattern you've chosen in each section. And while you're doing this, you could simply put some nice meditative music on and just breathe. Make sure your hands are relaxed. Don't hold your pen too tight. Just relax with it. Because if you hold your pen too tight, you're going to find it's going to hurt and you're not going to enjoy this as much. And you will find the nice thing is I start off with something small like this because it's not overwhelming. If you go with something really big, you can get overwhelmed with how much you have to do. Now, right now you can see that all my designs tend to be going and there's not a lot of, like, the patterns are different, But see how it's all very flat? Now to make it more interesting, I could go along and I could sit there and I could color in part of it to make something stand out a little bit more. And then I get the nice contrast of the black and white. And by doing this, you'll see how my tangle will stand out a bit more. See the difference? And now that's standing out a little bit more than these. So I might want to do something, so I may go in here and I may just do some lines and some of these stripes and see if I like that. So there's no ending. You can start a shape and then go back in and change it or add to it. You keep going until you think it looks good to you. So I kind of like how that's going, so I'm going to keep going with that. And I'm going to, for this example, I'm going to just keep going with the lines the same direction. And I'm doing them fairly close because it will just make this section look darker without actually having filled it in completely. And this is where you take your time, don't rush it. I'm going a little faster than I normally would. Now, aside from doing my lines closer or further away to get a difference in the intensity between the blacks and whites, I can also change my pens to different sizes, you know, to do some thinner lines or some thicker lines. So I would normally just keep on working with this and fill up all the areas, but I'm not going to make you watch me do a whole Zen tangle here. I'm going to teach you a couple of tangles to go with this, and you can try some of these on your own, and if you like it, then there are all sorts of resources out there that you can continue, or you can send me a comment and I can let you know a few other tangles if you're really interested in this. So I'm just going to put this one aside for now. And I'm going to grab another little piece of paper, and I'm going to start by putting my 4 dots. It also makes it look nice and finished, but I also find it gives you somewhere to aim when you're doing your lines. And don't be worried about moving your paper. I find it's much easier if I move my paper so that my hand can flow a little bit easier. And the lines don't always have to be straight. You can make them wavy or whatever. So for this next one, what I'm going to do is I am going to go and I'm going to do a rather large one, and I'm going to give myself, okay, let's see, 9 circles. And I usually go into the center once I've done the first line. So I'm going to go into the center and then go down just to get my spacing. Now these little circles are going to help me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start on the outside of this circle. Going to go up, and I'm going to follow like a little curve and come down on the outside of that circle. Then for the next one, I'm going to start on the side of this one and go below and up to the other side. The lines don't cross over, so they always go around, and now everything I do is going to be the opposite of these lines. So since this one is going this way, I'll do this one here, but I am going to go opposite, so it's going to go down like that. And this one will go the opposite, so I'll start on this side and I will go up and circle over. So for this one, I'm going to do the opposite. So I will start here, go up like that. And then for this one, I will start here, go up and around. So far, they're all looking opposite. I'm going to do this right off to the edge. So I'm going to start on the outside here, and I'm just going to go right off the page. So this will be the opposite, and it's either the opposite of the one above it or even the one next to it. So here, if I start here, I'm going to go down and out. And this one I'm going to circle and go over. Now I'm going to do the same for there, and if it's easier for you, you can just turn it if you like to work to the right all the time. So I'm just going to go from the outside, go up and out. So from this side of the circle, I'm going to go down and out, and from this side of the circle I'm going to go up and out. So I'll put myself back. There's my start. So now I'm going to do, that's all my horizontal lines. I'm going to do my vertical lines. So you can either turn it, which I'm going to do, just makes my life a little easier. Now, as I said, you don't cross the lines for this one, so I would not go down like this because it would cross that line and that line, which means I would start right here and I would go up to the outside of this circle. Then the next one would be the opposite, which also means I wouldn't cross the line. So, you know, if you're not sure, you think that way. No, it's this way. So I start on the outside, go down, and I come back up. And then for this one, I start on the outside, I go up. Just got to make it all the way over there. And on the outside. So now for this one, I'm going to go down to the outside. For here, I'm going to go up the outside and down to the outside. And now I'm going to continue off just like we did the other. So I can go up and out, down and out, up and out. And I'm just going to turn it around. So I'm going to go up and out, down and out, and up and out. So you can see we have this lovely little pattern. Now I'm going to color my little dots in. Just gives me a bit of contrast, but it will also make it look a little bit more three-dimensional, you can see. Just going all my circles, and then I can even pull them over a little. Here we go, just coloring them in. And there I have a nice simple little weave there. Now this is typically how a Zentangle starts. Since they have started, people are now coloring them and watercoloring them and doing a bunch of different things. So I'm going to do a little bit of shading. Just going to grab a pencil and I'm going to shade so that the centers are highlighted, but I want to give more three-dimensionality to it. So I'm going to start by any area that's like the C shape, And I am just going to lightly, following that C shape, put a little pencil, just like that. So I've got another C shape here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do another here. And then this has got a C shape, so I'm going to go in. And I'm doing it very lightly. Notice I'm not pushing hard. Okay, so it goes fairly quickly because of that. And follow the C shape here. Now this is a really cool pattern. I like using this one a lot for different things, but I'm just going to go ahead, follow my C shapes. Now when it's this big is when I like to add some shading. When it's smaller, I don't. I think it works for itself, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So just following the C shapes. And then this is a C shape here. Another C shape here. Now, I am putting just a little, I'm not putting a lot. So it's helping, but it's not helping as much as I would like it to. So I'm just following all the C shapes again. So everywhere there's a C shape, I'm actually shading in the side that's curved. Okay, so there's a lot of them, like everyone has a C shape. So I just do the curves. Okay, so you can see all of those. And then I'm just going to go and I'm going to do the edges, and I'm just going to give a bit of the C shape for that because it's the opposite. I know it's going to go there. Here I'm just going to go straight across. A little bit more of the C shape here. Just going around. I'm going to just again, I'm just doing it very lightly. A little bit of the shape up there. And I'm just turning the paper because it just makes it easier for me. If you don't want to turn it, you don't have to. But this just works quite nicely. Okay, so just to finish this off, I'm going to use my finger. And I'm going to blend that C shape and pull it up a little. Do the same thing. I'm going to blend it and then pull it towards the center a little. Just a little, so you can see how I'm getting it, and I'm leaving the white. I want to leave that white center. So I'm going to do that for all of these. Just going to pull that up a bit. And by doing that, I am getting a subtle shade variation with the darkest on the edges, and just make sure you don't go right to the center so that this way it looks more three-dimensional. Oh, I forgot to shade here, and I forgot right here, so we're just going to put the shading in there so I can just blend it with my pinky. I'm just going to take that side and pull it up. So you can see why I don't really want to do this when it's small, because I would end up filling it up really fast. Now I could use a blending stump as well, but I find this works just as well, and it's nice and subtle. And just make sure you're staying on this side of the line for each one, so it's blending to where it needs to go. I'm just going to turn that around just to missed another one. So this is the thing, you can sit there and you can watch and go, oh, I missed this. And just go back in and add it. So just going along the edges. And then I'm going to do inside that C shape. I'm just going gently around the edges, keeping it inside my border. And there you go. So there's my piece, and it looks three-dimensional. And then last but not least, I'm just going to put my initials on there. And there is my first finished Zentangle. Okay, so having said that, I was telling you that you don't need to blend it here, so I'm going to use this just to show you how I can do this. I can go and put some little dots in here. So you can see these can take a long time if you take the time to do everything. So I'm just going to start, and I'm going to go up and over and then under. So I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm just going across right away and going to the end. Then the other will be the opposite, so going from there to here. So you can use this same pattern and put it nicely in my little Zentangle that I was doing earlier. So it's the same way. And then I could continue on. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now, but go around there. So you can see how I can build it all up. So that one is like that, so then I go here. So you just have to pay attention and make sure you get them the right direction. Okay, so, but that's the same pattern, but I'm obviously, like if I tried to shade it and use my finger, it's just gonna be a mess. So that's my first one. Now, using the same pattern, and I sort of gave you the idea there, I'm going to create a little basket for Easter, because Easter is coming up. So I think this is quite cute. Now, it doesn't matter how many dots across, whether you do evens or odds, for the basket itself. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to start, and I think I'm going to do 7 across. So what I tend to do is start just below center, because I'm doing a basket, so I'm going to want something in my basket. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to do 6 because I don't want to go higher than there. And I'm going to go across. So I'm going to do 7 across just because I'm going to use that as my center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7. So now I want it to be an Easter basket, so I am going to have it come in a little in the shape. So for the bottom line, I'm going to do that one next, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to move my dots slightly closer. So 1, well, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll do 4 on this side, so, or 3 on this side, 4 if you count the center. There, so it's little, and it's in a little more here than it is there, and that's okay. So now what I have to do is I have to put the rest of the dots in. So the easiest way is going here to there, but you're going to be going along that sort of a line. So I'm going to put one. There we go. Just matching them up. So that gives me that side, and then I'll fill in. So now this will be there, a little closer, just so that I get them following the line. And then this one, we'll center them in between the two. And now I'll repeat the same thing for this side. So I'm going to start over here, so go over this one. Yes, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. That's what we said. So now I'm just going to do the others and fill it in. So use the top and the bottom to decide your guide. And then this one I'm just going to sort of split the difference. There. So I now have all the dots I want for my Easter basket. And this is going to be very similar to the one we just did. But instead of having to go up and over, because I've only made dots instead of a big circle, it's still the same principle. So I am going to start with this dot, and I'm just going to go to the next dot with a curved line. And I'm just going to continue my way down. So it's going to be the opposite one each time. So just from dot to dot. And you can just focus on your breathing, relax, make sure you're comfortable, put your feet flat. So this one will now be opposite. So I have to go the opposite direction. And then this will be the opposite. And the nice thing is, because it's opposite the one on the left, it's going to be opposite the one on top as well. So you can just go down. And if you get the first one right, you will get them all right, because it just follows opposite each one. And these may look weird at one point. Don't worry, trust the process, because as you go, they will come together. So now this one, I'm going to go opposite again. And I'm just going to make my little curves. And then I'm going to continue over here. And each one's going to be opposite the previous. And I do each curve one at a time. I don't just try to do the whole line like going like that, because I want to make sure I'm actually getting them. So there's one curve, the next curve. So you'll notice I pick it up every time. And then going opposite on this one. As I say, if you get the first one done, you're fine the whole way down. Curve. And don't worry if some of them look very thin, it still works. And then the last one, it's going to curve that way. And there we go. So now I have to do the horizontal lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to do my top line here. Okay, so remember, even think about it the same as the other. You don't want to cross over, so I'm going to go and curve upward. So now that I've determined that, I can just go along and do them all down here as opposites, which this takes a little bit more concentration. So that's opposite. So this is down, so the next will be up. From dot to dot, the next dot to dot will be down, up, down. However, I have now set myself up for the rest of the basket. So this one goes down, so I can just follow and go up, down, up, down, up. The next one, I've already got the down, so I will go up, down, up, down, up. Same thing. This one goes up, so the next one's going to go down, And you just go from dot to dot and you make your way right through. That one's down, so I'm going to go up. So you do have to keep an eye and, you know, focus on what you're doing. This one's down, so the next one's up. If you get the first one right, you should be able to get the following ones without a problem. And then this one's down, so the next one's up, down, down, up. So it's starting to look like something, but we're not there. We're not there yet. So I'm going to put a handle on this. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make a curve. So I'm going to put 2 dots for every one, and I want an odd amount. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to double check that. I'm going to start and I'm going to put them about the same distance as I have from here, but the inside will be a little tighter. Okay? So, and I'm just going to go up. And I'm just going to follow. It's a little tight, but it's still going to work. So what I do for my basket, for my handle, is I will now follow here. I can do the inside. So see, this is curving to the outside, so the opposite. And I can just do the opposites all the way. Just do this intersection. That way and there. So I do know it's worked well as long as I've got an odd amount of dots that I've added. Then from here, this curves this way, so I'm going to curve the opposite way. Go up. There we go. Now it still looks a bit weird, so now I'm going to go, this is the opposite, so I will go down. The next one will go up, down, up, down. And just keep doing them opposite all the way. And make sure you're connecting with your dots. So there. So now I have my handle for my basket. Still not looking 100% like a basket, so I'm going to give it a little bit more detail. I'm going to go with a smaller pen, so I'm going to go, let's see, what size do I have here? I'm going to go with the 005. You could use the 001 or you can use a 2. And I am just going to follow all these lines with just like a little light line, just kind of marking it. And I'm staying close to the edges, and where your if your basket weave gets really thin, then don't get both the lines, just get one. So like I could just do one like that. It's just going to give me a little bit of texture, and I'm following the shape that I've already determined with all these little lines. And I'm going very light and I'm going very quick. I don't want it to be perfect lines. I'm just relaxing, taking my time, but I'm moving them around because I don't really want solid lines here. I just want them to follow my curves a bit. And you'll see it'll start to give it a little bit of shaping, a little bit of texture, so it's going to look a little bit more like a straw basket. Now you don't have to do this. You could have stopped where we just were. I just find it looks nicer when you do this. And this is the sort of thing, I could do this larger, and I could do this for a nice little Easter card. Continue it up. So these are fairly thin, so I'm just kind of doing one of them. And the nice thing is by putting these little lines in, if you've got some that look much bigger, then this will help make them look a little bit smaller, make everything more on an even scale. Okay, so there, that's already looking a little bit better and looking like it's got a bit more texture. So I'm going to close that. And now I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm just going to give a little bit of shading. Same way we did before, following my C's, going like that, just quickly doing it. But I'm not going to be blending these ones. I'm just, you can see how quickly I'm moving. I'm just giving a little bit of color, but I mean, I could just take some watercolor paint because I am doing this actually on a watercolor paper. I could have done this on any paper. I just happened to cut it out of the watercolor stock because I liked the thickness of the paper and I like the texture that I'm using. But I could do this on photocopy paper just as easy. But because I have done it on watercolor paper and microns are waterproof, you could just as easily go in, grab some burnt sienna and do a nice little colored basket. But since tonight I am just working with the pencils and the microns, I'm just giving hints of everything. So far there's my little basket. Okay, now I need to put something in my basket. You can put whatever you want. I'm going to take my my number 5 again, 05, and I'm going to put some eggs in my basket. So I'm just going to draw them at different levels. Let's see. So I'm going to Zentangle or tangle my various eggs. Whatever patterns you would like. So I'm trying to do it with a little bit of contrast so my egg will stand out. I think I'm actually going to color in this egg. So there, that's going to stand out. So now I'm going to put maybe some polka dots on this one. And I'm going to color in those polka dots. I'm trying to make it so that my little eggs stand out in my basket so that everything's not blending and being exactly the same. So this one's going to have some stripes, so I'm going to give it one dark stripe near the bottom. Let's give it another stripe. So what I'm also going to do is take my pencil and I'm just going to shade the bottom of these a little, just to have the shadow on them. Obviously I don't have to do it on the black one because you're not going to see it, but I just want it to look like they're standing out from my basket. And then the last thing I'll do is just give it my initials again. Now I didn't do this one with the square, but I could have done. And remember I said I'm going to do a square, but I'm going to, because I've already signed it, I'll go a little lower here. But remember I said you don't have to do it straight. So I may go like this for this one. So I used the rules, but I broke the rules. I just did them in a different order. So there, I've got a nice little basket. Now the next one I'm going to do is kind of a tricky one. So it takes a little bit of focus. So you have to pay attention, but it's actually fairly simple. And I'm going to just I'm going to do it rather large. They all have names. The tangles have names, like the Zentangle ones. I don't know all the names, but this one I do. It's called a paradox. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my outline, my box. My 4 dots, connecting my dots. And I do want these ones relatively straight. Okay, so I'm going to just do a larger version. So I'm just going to go and put 4 more dots. I'm going to do a large box here, just so I have a border. I think that's about right. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw this box. And try to, try to be kind of straight. There. Now what I'm going to do is put a line down the center. So I'm going to look for the center there. So I'm going to think it's there and there. So you can always put dots just to look and guide you. I'm going to turn it sideways and do the same thing. One here, and I'm going to go down. And then I'm going to actually do like a giant X, but I find it easier if I start from the center and go to the corner. Start from the center, go to the corner, center and corner. I find it easier to do it this way than trying to do one solid line, because if I do, I tend to go away from my center. And then the last one, starting from the center, going to my corner. Okay, so that's where I start here. Now, it doesn't matter, for each one of these is going to be repeated what I do, so you have to watch this carefully. It doesn't matter where I start, but I'm going to start from the center right here. And I'm going to draw a line from here just to the outside of this line. So I'm going to go from here and do a line there. It was a little wobbly, but that's okay. Then I'm going to turn it, and where that line intersected here, I'm going to draw from there to just inside this line. So I'm going to go from here just to inside that line. Then I'm going to turn, because I just find it easier, at least when I start. So from this line just to the inside of the first line I drew, so that would be right here. So I'm going to go right there. Okay, and then from there I'm going to keep going. So now I'm going to start where that one intersected and just go inside the next one. Then from where that one goes, it's going to just go inside here. So I'm going to go, and then from where this one hit, it will just go inside here. So I'm going to go in there where it intersected, just next to the last one. Same thing, go over here, then I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm just going to keep repeating that. So this is one where you actually do really think about where you have to go. You have to just keep focusing until you get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So there's the first one. So then I just turn and I'm going to do the next one. So I'm going to start from my center. I'm going to go just to the right of the first one and go from here just to the right. Again, I'm going to go just to the right and just keep doing this. So each line I start where it intersects and I go just to the right of the next one. That was a little wobbly, but that's okay. It'll still look neat at the end. Okay, from there. Here. Just keep going until it's too small. And I'll go for the next one. That was a little wider than I wanted, but it'll still work. So from this corner. So where people tend to go wrong with this is they try to make triangles and triangles and triangles. You're not actually doing that. You're going from one spot just to the right of the previous line every time. So from this spot, whoops, not my best, but it will work. There. And then move on to the next one. So you could do these much slower than I am so you can focus and get your lines better. And remember, pay attention to your breathing and your posture. Make sure you're not holding on to anything too tight, or don't hold your breath as you're trying to do these. very relaxing. At first you might go, oh, that's a lot of, that's scary. But once you get started with them, you're going to find out how relaxing they are. And if you take it step by step, it's actually fairly easy. I'm just going to keep working my way around. And don't worry if you have a couple go wonky. As I say, it's the process. And just be aware of what you're doing, focus on what you're doing, relax, just enjoy it. Don't worry about how it's going to turn out, because you will find the more you do them, the more relaxed you are and the better they come. The first time it's a little difficult because you're trying to focus and figure out if you're doing it right. And I realize that's a little more challenging. But this one, all it is doing one line into another, into another. Thought I'd get you away from doing the C stroke. And then my last section here. Ooh, I did that one a little wide, and that's okay. Pull it here. So what's really kind of cool is my lines look like they're bent, but they're not. That's actually the effect. So now I'm just going to make some of this stand out a little bit more. So I am just going to darken the center a little, and I'm going to follow this line that looks like it's curved. And I'm going to do the same on the one up here because they just look, I'm just going to darken them. So I'm going from the center out. And the one that above that looks curved. The one that looks curved. I'm just going to do this all the way around. And no, mine aren't perfectly even. That's okay. I'll go with that. Even though it is straight, it looks curved. Just want to follow that right. And I'm going to go in and I am going to just color in my centers. So right here. So that's where that end of that curve matches. Just gonna give it that little shape. It's right in there. Just have to look to get the shape right. Some of mine aren't as even as others, but that's okay. I'm just going to thicken those lines right up to that. So I'm just redrawing some of these lines to just emphasize them more. Go. I have a nice little Zen tangle. Another one that's showing up. Oops. That goes to there. So I'm just going to leave that one here. I could do a pattern here. I could even extend it and add stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more, just to make a quick one. Okay, this one's a fairly simple one. I'm just going to do a double circle in the center, and then I'm going to do a double circle up above, and a double circle below, and then one between 2 and 3, one between 4 and 5, and then do the opposite. So this would be between the 7 and 8 o'clock. And the 10 and 11. So this one's a fairly simple one. I am just going to do like a petal. So I'm just going to start at the bottom of this circle, go to that circle, and then bring another. So this is the C shape again, you're seeing, or that curved shape. Going to do the same thing here. And no, they're not perfectly even. That's fine. I'm going to do the same thing with each of the circles. I'm going to meet them in the middle. So that starts me off. Then I am going to do one connecting the sides. So I'm going to go up here and down and do it all the way around. So they aren't as even as I would normally like. So these should be a little bit more even, but as I say, it's the process. You should be relaxing and doing the process. There we go. So yeah, mine's very elongated, and that's okay. It'll be fine. So now that I've done that, I am going to draw from this dot to this one line and another. So that's to the left of it. I'm going to turn and do it to the left on each one. So one, and I'm going to stay inside. Don't cross into the other. So here I'm going to go, I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So these are kind of like ribbons. 1, 2. So once I've done it on the left of each one, I'm now going to go to the right, but I'm not going to do it quite the same. From here, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come to this line. So I'm going to go to this line, miss a little part, and continue and stop there. Then I'll take my second one, do the same thing, and continue. And I'm going to do that to the right of each one. So I'm going to start up at the dot, do a curve, and stop and through, stop, and go through. And I'm going to turn it, do it again, stop at the first line, continue it, stop at the first line, continue it. And continue, stop, continue, and go through, and make sure you do it till you get all the way around. So I'm now all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to color in those lines that I just did. Turn it, and I'm going to do the next one. Just focus on what you're doing. And one more. Make sure you get all the way around. So even though mine was really elongated, still looks pretty neat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the circles, the inside ones, just because I want to make it look a little more interesting. So yeah, this one should be a little thinner, but that's okay. As I say, it's the journey. I mean, I could turn it this way and put a name in there and have this little nameplate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a couple more lines. So I'm going to go from here to here, and then do a second line. And I'm going to turn and do this for each one. So take your time and try and get the nice roundness in it. Try and make this look a little bit better with that. Now with each of my Zen tangles or tangles that I've done, I've stopped at a certain point, but I could keep on going, so that just looks kind of neat. You know, I could sit and I could go and I could color in more areas, or I could do patterns in them, so I might decide to continue with the circles here. Take my time, go through, I'm going to just do it in the center so that it matches up with the dots that I've got. So it looks like it should be going that way. Do it in the center again. Just space them evenly, just so they look like they should continue. You can do anything. I'm just, you know, thinking what can I do to make this look a little bit better, because I didn't like the shape of mine. But also at the same time, I'm finding this is actually quite relaxing doing these. And to be honest, I know this has been a long video, but this has been very quick. Normally I would take a lot longer and relax and take my time doing them, and then I would, because I would be taking my time and I'd be more focused on it, I would have my proportions would look better. And not because I'm trying harder, but because I'm taking the time and I'm focusing on exactly what I'm doing, and I'm not focusing on teaching someone else to do it at the same time. And see, that made that look a little neat. And I can keep adding to this, and I could shade this if I wanted to. I'm going to stop. I'll show you another variation that I have done. So here's another variation of the same one, but the proportions are better with a little bit of shading. I've done different Easter bunny ones. So here's the one that I just did. And here's one from earlier. So I'll give you those. And then I've got, I've got 3 of these, all different ones. This is tonight's. And then I also have, this is tonight's. And I've got this one where I didn't color it in. And I've got this one where I have colored it in. So. And then I've done this. Got that one from tonight. And then I did do a smaller one. So you can do different things with them. And that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section and I will get back to you. Thank you.